The ambitious initiative of the state government. A glint of satisfaction in the eyes of the common man. A project that has provided a sense of contentment. The project that has been implemented all over the state is now the cynosure of every positive opinion maker's eyes. Free 200 units of electricity per month to any and every domestic consumer without discrimination, be it caste, creed or economic status. The program now has efficiently encompassed more than 80% of domestic consumers in Karnataka. In Kolar and a few other districts, the implementation has in fact crossed 90%. Now this free electricity guarantee of the state government has reached the point where it has crossed all criticism and is only the recipient of much appreciation. But in reality, the program that has been lauded as a free electricity program and criticized as a freebie program is in fact a program for economic empowerment of the common man. Now, after a few months of the program implementation, while observing the effect of the program on the common man in general and the economy in particular, it is more evident that this program is nothing but an empowerment program. It explicitly establishes the social welfare objectives of the state government. Many universities, think tanks and social experts are engrossed in studying the social change, the economic stability and the market development affected by this free electricity guarantee scheme. Today, many other states in India too are considering emulating the spirit and structure of this successful scheme so that their peoples may benefit too. Today, experts are lauding the fact that how a committed government with vision can indeed bring about social development. Here is an attempt to present the Jyothi scheme's objective, with insights into how the program was conceptualized, how it was professionally planned, and how it was diligently implemented. This is no short of a success story. It is an undeniable fact that electricity is inevitable, essential, and unavoidable. But for consumption of electricity, consumers shelling out a certain amount of money is a natural consumer obligation worldwide. Every domestic consumer of electricity is expected to set aside a certain amount from his funds to pay the electricity bill, which is inescapable. Noticing that for a common man, electricity is a basic need rather than a luxury, and by adhering to the principles of social welfare, the government decided to provide the minimum requirement of electricity up to 200 units per household free of charge. And this historic decision by the Karnataka government brought into effect the Gruha Jyothi Yojana. But remember, the idea of Gruha Jyothi did not come from nowhere. There has been extensive research, deep thinking, deliberations, discussions, and tough decisions. The additional chief secretary, who is in charge of the department, constituted a team of experts and efficient officers with a clear mandate to implement the scheme as flawlessly as possible. With a mandate like that, clear goals and specific objectives, the team held numerous meetings and sought inputs from every related source as possible. The team also was constantly guided by the additional chief secretary, who in turn had many meetings with the minister of the department, Sri K.J. George, who directed and guided the course of implementation of the Yojana with his astute leadership and experience. The department sought the guidance of the Chief Minister and duly implemented his suggestions and insights. The team worked day and night tirelessly with the sole objective of shaping the scheme and to implement it in the most successful way possible. Thousands of documents were poured through. Countless hours were spent studying data on the computer screens. Statistics and research inputs were carefully studied. Scientists and financial experts were consulted. Energy experts, technocrats, and technical experts were consulted. sociologists and political analysts were deliberated with. All this resulted in the preparation of a rough draft. In the meanwhile, senior officials had also visited other states that already had free electricity schemes, with an intention to make Karnataka government's Gruha Jyothi scheme unique and special, to ensure that the proposed Karnataka scheme would also be more effective than the other existing schemes. A draft thus studied was submitted to the government. The proposals of the draft were extensively debated in the cabinet. The cabinet understood the spirit and the purpose of the ambitious program, keeping in mind the ruling party's objective of providing a way of amelioration of the suffering of the common man who was brutalized for many years following the economic recession and, most importantly, because of COVID. The government came into existence with the promise of providing at least some relief to the common people who are suffering from economic hardship because of many reasons. The Chief Minister, Shri Siddaramaiah, and the Power Minister, Shri K.J. George, categorically expressed the government's desire to ensure that every domestic consumer household would get the Gruha Jyothi benefit without any rider or discrimination. But the upper limit for free consumption would be 200 units, and on crossing 200 units would be required to pay the prevailing charges for the whole consumption. The Power Minister lucidly presented the objectives, the benefits, and the challenges of this great initiative of this state government to the state cabinet. This effort was followed by unanimous approval by the cabinet for the implementation of the Gruha Jyothi Yojana when the proposal came to the implementation stage, and when it was confirmed beyond doubt that this supposedly impossible scheme would in fact be implemented. The critics and opponents of this scheme started voicing their opinion by saying it was impossible to give 200 units of electricity free to such a large number of people. They also expressed their reservations about the economic impact, and many openly said that the scheme would definitely spoil the financial health of the state. It was also said that the electricity supply companies would end up in loss and the whole energy department would be in shambles. In all, the scheme was projected as a bad scheme that should never ever be implemented. But within a few months of the implementation, surprising data started coming in. It was proven that the objections and the criticism the scheme faced were indeed baseless, and the data provided otherwise. Now, the electricity supply companies are not in loss, instead are being profitable. The financial state of the state of Karnataka has not been spoiled, but there is more spending happening in the consumer market. The state is earning more taxes too. This has been documented and published. This has given reason for many financial experts to rethink their initial opinion about the scheme. Though there is no discrimination as to who can benefit from the scheme and enlist for free electricity up to 200 units, but the condition that the consumers cannot cross 200 units has also made the domestic consumers become responsible power consumers who are exercising self-control and accountable consumption of electricity to ensure that they don't cross the free bracket. This has resulted in up to 30% less consumption of electricity in the domestic domain. The energy thus saved is being provided to industrial and commercial sectors. In spite of dearth of electricity due to poor monsoon and other reasons, the department is still able to give quality electricity for agricultural purposes. More electricity available for industrial sectors has resulted in more economic activities. In the event of sufficient availability of electricity with responsible domestic consumption, the state may indeed save power and may avoid buying electricity at a higher cost. The government has also encouraged the small and medium industries by providing a subsidy of 50 paise for every unit consumption. This definitely would result in more production activities and the employees would benefit with a steady job and earn overtime incentives. This would definitely increase employment very soon in the future. With free electricity, the mood has changed even in the villages. There is an increase in farming activity. With free electricity, people are able to conduct their household activity without stress. And this has resulted in a conducive economic situation in the state. Every common man's family is saving anything between 10,000 to 15,000 rupees per year by benefiting from the scheme. This money is a substantial amount, and when available in the hands of the poor and the middle-class families, they are able to spend it on other purposes like buying other essentials like groceries, jewelry, and in most cases, pay school fees and bear medical expenses. A portion of the money spent by the people in the market has been reaching the government coffers in the form of taxes. This way, Gruha Jyothi, though called euphemistically as a free program, has now caused many positive changes and improvements towards the overall development of Karnataka state. Ultimately, day after day, the present government's ambitious scheme of providing free electricity to the common man has proven again and again that this is not only beneficial but also a very important effort towards the empowerment and welfare of the common man.